Okay, so today I'm going to, let me share my screen. I'm going to talk about homework assignment number 2. Let me bring up the homework assignment number 2.
Professor,
Yes, please.
you're talking about homework assignment number 2, but homework assignment number 1 wasn't due yet, right?
No, it's not due yet.
Okay,
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm actually trying to get you some information, get you started. So, I mean, it will be recorded if you don't have time to work on homework assignment number 2 at this moment because you're still working on 1, you can actually come back to look at 2. But 1 and 2 are somewhat related, and homework 2, I like to start it early because you won't really start doing the C++ programming until the part 2 of homework assignment number 2. So that's why this is technically, officially your, oh, I'm sorry, homework assignment number 1, you do have to do this heal and break, but that's mostly in from the, you can probably apply your knowledge from ecs36b to do that. But strictly for homework assignment number 2, when you start to define classes and try to create object, that's actually from homework assignment number 2, part 2. But today I actually want to talk about homework assignment number 2, but also the main point I try to bring up here is the concept of JSON, the JavaScript object notation, which is learning programming language, especially object-oriented programming. It's good for you to understand different representation of the model. So in the lecture and also in the textbook, we cover C++, which is one notation about how object can be defined as a in the class definition. However, in other parts of the world, the object are being defined differently and is actually widely used. This format is called JavaScript object notation. And there is essentially a one-to-one correspondence between the Java representation to the C++ representation. So I feel that it's a good idea for you to understand another representation and see the similarity and differences so you can apply the same concept in a much wider application and using either one of these two or mixing of these two. In fact, today we're using a lot of the web or data science or database. It's mostly based on the JSON notation. So that's why I'm actually going to start to get used to this notation, and later you will actually be really familiar with this. And don't worry about too much about how to handle that. You will experience that later. But C++, like Python or Java, they have a suite of library interface for you to handle the JSON object very nicely. Okay. All right. So any other question before I start my homework 2, part 1? Okay. So the idea of homework assignment number 2, I mean, okay, the other thing is I want to push homework assignment number 2, part 1 as soon as possible. You really don't need to do any programming for this one. And also, when you run this program, you will get a virtual student ID. And once you get the virtual student ID, then you can I can let you access to the small program server that you can actually use that virtual ID. I mean, you don't need to show your real ID. In fact, after you're done with homework assignment number 2, part 1, you no longer need your student ID. You will be just using a virtual ID, and that virtual ID will be used for the rest of the quarter. And so, I mean, last time, remember we had a situation that a student's ID was shown in the video, so I have to do some editing. I haven't actually get the time to do that. So we want to avoid that. So we're going to use a specific ID that's actually dedicated for ecs36b. Okay, all right. So this one is, you can think about part one. The objective is try to obtain an ID. And in order to get the ID, you need to contact the server again, and you need to provide some information. And this information will be including your student ID. And this is, by the way, the last time you will be using the student ID. So you will be running this program called ecs36b hw2 _ client. In fact, I just want to tell you that you can essentially using your ecs36b homework 1 client. It's exactly the same program. I just call it differently. It's the same program. It's taking 4 parameter. So the first parameter is going to be IP address, just like that. But the second parameter is the port number. Okay, some of you probably already start seeing me use the concept of IP address and the port number. And some of you already know what I mean, but I want to repeat, most of the people don't know what they are until they take courses in computer network. So IP address is essentially every single machine that connected to the internet need to have an address so you can communicate with others. So essentially, when we talk about internet communication, we really talk about 2 IP address that's actually exchange information. So that's represent a host or smartphone or a cloud or a server. So that is IP address, like showing this is a 32-bit IPv4 address format. That's a UC Davis IP address. But there is another thing, it's called port number. Some of you might familiar with a port number, some of you might not. But the port number essentially is try to identify different program or services running on your computer. Remember, my computer in front of me, that this computer has IP address, even though it's behind what we call network address translation. But this computer has IP address. So when you log into a campus network, you're going to get the IP address for your computer. But the thing is that when you communicate with each other, it's not just your computer communicate with the other party. It's a program in your computer that's actually connecting to others. So one of my program may be web browser. One of my program may be email server. One of my program might be is a game I'm playing. Or so you can imagine you're doing simultaneously multiple program that they all need internet access. So here's a problem. When there is a message or what we call internet packet arrive incoming to your computer, and your computer is confused about where should I deliver this packet to which application? Is this really email, or is this really HTTP, which is a web browsing, or is this a game that LOL that you're playing? So in other words, that we need extra information beyond IP address to determine that which program that you need to deliver to. So port number is helping us to do that. That's why when you communicate with the other party, you need both IP address and the port number. Sometimes because you're not, if you're using HTTP, using your web browser, you don't need to provide the port number. But by the way, the port number is, default port number is 80. And the thing is, if you look at the URL, sometime after the IP address or domain name, they have a colon, and then they have a number, sometimes 8080 or sometimes it's something else. So if they provide some number, means that they don't want to use the default port number. They want to use a port number that's actually very specific to their implementation. Okay, so that's the idea of port number, and I think you should know, because this is a very useful concept. Okay, so I have a program name, and I have IP address, and I have a port number. All right, good. So after I have this 3, then essentially I need to provide the 4th argument, which is the most important, is essentially the JSON. That this JSON, you can see that last time I just sent my student ID. Remember, student, you might not remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, f206789 is my fake student ID. Okay, so I use this for demo for whatever purpose. So you can see that I embedded a bunch of information inside here. Okay, I even include the latitude and the longitude of myself. I mean, to be honest with you, the whole thing over here are optional, except there's two. One is your student ID, one is your avatar name. The avatar name need to be there because I need to create a virtual address for that. Okay, and action, yeah, you need to have this action as well. So this three part is actually the most important. The rest of part, yeah, I don't think my server really seriously checking all this, okay? But I can tell you that each of them has some meaning. I mean, I don't know if you know that, one of my assignment last quarter was trying to find out the distance between two different people. I mean, we're talking about social distancing. So we're actually trying to calculate the distance between two positions. I mean, smartphone number one, smartphone number two, whether they're separated by 6 feet to each other. Okay, you can actually use your GPS location to actually calculate. Okay, you can actually obtain your own GPS from your smartphone, but also if you use Google Maps. Let me just show you a very quick demo how you can actually get your GPS location. I need Firefox. Hold on 1 second. While I'm doing this, any question at this moment? Okay, let me actually go to my Google Map. If you go to the Google Map and yeah, this is where I am. So, well, wow, that G stands for my wife. So my wife is here as well. Oh, that's my daughter is here as well. So you know we have a lot of privacy. So look at here and let me see which one is. Wait a minute. How do I actually get my? I thought I have a. What is here? Let me see this one. Yeah, this one. You see that? When you say what it is, I don't know if you can see that. There is this is your GPS location is called using this format with two floating point. One represent your latitude and longitude. Okay, so you can see that from East Covell in Davis, the GPS location is 38.56 and minus 121. So you can actually obtain GPS location, whatever you want. So that's the GPS location you can actually put in. So this is actually pretty close to where I am. Okay, all right, so this is the JSON, and then we just put it in. All right, so now I'm going to do something. Let me actually start it with something which is I already actually pre-built what happened. Let me see. Where's my? I need to copy and paste. Ah, here it is. I already actually copy and paste this one. Am I this? Okay, I'm actually having the program. Okay, I'm actually going to run this program. You can see that this is the name of the program. And then this is IP address. This is port number, because remember this port number is different from homework assignment number one. Homework assignment number one, the port number is 95600. They share the same IP address, but the port number is different. And then here's a JSON. Okay, JSON, I will send you more information about a tutorial. It's essentially a nice format, what we call key value pair. So this is the key, this is the value. So key value pair, separate by column. This is one key value pair, and you concatenate multiple key value pair. That's why you have a comma to put it there. Okay, so this is what we have, and guess what will happen when I see enter? Enter, it will say, no, it's incorrect. Why is this incorrect? It says it's expecting how many parameter? That the first one is the first one, of course, is execution, and then the second one is the IP address and the port number. And sorry, the instruction is misleading. It's not SID. This one is the JSON. So it's expecting 1, 2, 3, 4 argument, which means that the ARGC is equal to 4. But if you take a look at this, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. And we're expecting the whole JSON be count as a 1 argument. But obviously, you see, I put some space here. And so the engine, he doesn't know that this is a JSON. It's just thinking that, oh, you have a more parameter. You have a 1, 2. Let me actually just show you what happened. Let me modify the client so it will tell you how many ARGC we're talking about. Let me just print ARGC. F printf std err. ARGC is equal to %d \n ARGC. Let's actually see how many arguments that the program is actually receiving. And of course, I type make. All right, so I'm actually running this program. You see that the ARGC is actually thinking that I actually have a 21. So obviously it's a JSON with a lots of information, but every single space is break into another argument, okay? All right, I got stuck. I need your help. How do I actually solve this problem? Any suggestion how I can solve this problem?
You could put quotes around the JSON, single quotes.
Ah, okay, let's try to do that. I actually never tried that, but let's try to do that. You're saying put a single quote here, okay? And then put a single quote here. Is that sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happened. Okay, that's great. Single quote, that works, right? So ARGC, now you see ARGC is equal to 4. Who actually provided that suggestion?
Me, Akshat Patel.
Akshat, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, so now the number of ARGC is correct. Akshat, this is great. This is actually better than my solution. I will show you my solution later, but this is better than my solution. Okay, so but the result is still fail. You see that? I still gotta fail the result, which means that my ARGC is, sorry, not my JSON is somewhat incorrect. What do you think, what could went wrong? I mean, this one is really tricky, especially over Zoom, especially with a small character. But I want you to guess what went wrong. I said, I want to show you this because everybody work on this got into trouble, especially when you're doing copy and paste. Anybody want to guess what's going on? By the way, this is a really tricky question, okay?
Your voice cut out a little bit when you were speaking about what the problem was, so I couldn't really make out what you were saying.
Okay, so sure, let me repeat again. You see that when I run this program, it counts as ARGC is equal to 4, but the return JSON I received from the server says that it failed. And I give you a hint that it's failing because there's something wrong with this JSON. There's something wrong with this JSON, and it has to do with copy and paste, which will happen if you, depending on what computer you're using to do the copy and paste.
The IP of the computer is not correct.
It could be, if you use a Mac, it's probably you're going to have this problem. If you use Windows, you're probably going to have this problem. So it has something to do with the JSON itself. This portion I highlighted here. There's something wrong with this. I mean, if you look at if you check character by character, it looks really similar to what I have. in the homework 2 handout.
Professor, is it the quotes that it's like slanted quotes instead of straight quotes?
Exactly, exactly. That's a slide quote. I mean, for some reason, if you can help me how to deal with that, I'll be happy to. But for some reason, this has been bothering me that you see that everything here is a slide, not straight. So let's actually do some editing. So which means that this is a straight. You see that is different. Let me show you this one. You see these two quotes are a little bit different. One is straight, one is slide. If you do copy and paste, you're going to see that slide. So I'm going to do this. There is a better way to do that, but I just want to show you how painful it is. So I'm going to do it again. I have to replace everything. It's really frustrating that sometimes even I actually do it in straight, and in the copy and paste process, depending on how you do it, it actually converted everything to the slide one.
Is there a way to like use a command line to change each of them?
You use SED. There is a command line editor. You can do that. Definitely, there is a way for you to do that. But the tricky part is that I even have to, when I do the substitute, I have to specify that it's a special character. It's not the ASCII code for this two character is different. And that's why this is what I call the not so nice perspective of computer programming. And sometimes we just have to find a way to make sure that all the character, all the encoding are consistent. Okay, so now you see I change everything. Boom. Okay. It says my student ID is assigned already because I already done this earlier. That's why it's assigned. But let me actually go back to my server to change it, to change something, to remove my own entry. Okay. Hey, wait a minute. Is this my server? No, this is not my server. This one's my server. Yes. I'm going to kill it, and I have a VSID. Record fall to solid. Okay, I'm the only record. Okay, so let me just tell you that what will happen when your program is submitted. So this database, this table right now has only one entry. That's my entry. You can see that the first entry is my student ID, which is my fake one. And the second one is the one that's being assigned to me. And then my avatar name, and then the timestamp. Okay, I only keep this 4 pieces of information. So this database is kept it only used when I want to do grading. I want to revert it back using this ID to find out who you are. And I have a master index, which is helping me to do that. So let me actually just remove this. Okay, so I'm removing this. And let me see. Did I already kill my server? Okay. I have to give a different seed. Okay, so now I'm running my homework 2 part 1 server. You can see the port number is this. It's actually accessing the student file, the master file that's you verified doing homework assignment number 1. And then I'm actually going to convert that, assign an ID. So now I'm actually going to, let me use this one again. You see that right now it says already assigned. So which means that if you actually, when you do homework assignment number 2, it says already assigned, there's something wrong. Because it could be somebody you already done that, or maybe somebody, I wouldn't call it the other good person, maybe an attacker who obtained your student ID, and then he already submitted, so I can actually check for you. So I'm going to run this again, and you can see this time it says successful. So you're actually expecting to see this line. Okay, you're going to see status is successful, And the name is Oracle. VSID is, I'm actually getting a new VSID than the previous one, because every time you come to this server, I'm going to assign a very strong ID, much longer than your 9 digits. And also from, I'm just not putting this information and the time. Okay, the rest of the information you can pretty ignore right now. But the most important thing is that you need to do success, and you can always use the program. If you forgot about your VSID, if you forgot about VSID, just remember this line. You need to keep it, because in case you forgot, you just run it again. It will say already assigned, but then your VSID is this. Okay, so I mean, I have students say, you know, I forgot homework assignment 5 or 6, and suddenly tell me, Professor, well, what's my VSID? Well, I will redirect you to homework assignment number 2, part 1. You can always obtain that this way. Okay. All right. So just to let you know, the one last thing I want to show for this one is I actually did a different way than single quote. Look at what I did. I put a backslash everywhere. You see that? I actually put backslash in front of the curly bracket. I put backslash in front of the double quote. I put backslash in front of every single space. If I put backslash basically say they will connect them together. So if I put a backslash as escape for a space, then it won't be considered as a separate. So this, if I run this like this way without single quote, I still have ARGC number 4. So there are multiple ways to do that. I think what was suggested by the class actually works better than this particular, because I need to type a lot more. I need to type basically backslash everywhere. Okay. All right. That's it for part 1. It shouldn't be too hard. It's just get you familiar with the JSON and get you familiar with the window, and you need to obtain the VSID, and we will keep a record about whether you already done this or not, because I have the log. Let me just show you. This is in my log here. No, I better not touching that one. I don't want to touch my server again. I use a different. By the way, you can run this program from anywhere. You can run it from CSIF. You can run it on your local machine. You can even run it from your smartphone if you have like a terminal built environment to do that. So it's ecs36b, cdcs. Sorry, ecs36b.
So for turning in part 2, we have to use CSIF, right? For homework
For
2?
part 2, yes, CSIF.
Okay.
Right. Just for part 2. Yeah, so if you see that, I actually have a log I want to show you. I just want to show you a log before we do that. More part 2, part 1. So basically, I have a log to log everything about so far everything has been from me, the log. Okay, from my, I mean, when you're doing this, we will keep the information regarding how you're getting there. Okay. Okay. Any other question for part 1? All right. So I mean, I just want to clarify is that I think it's better for me to give you both 1 and 2 at the same time, so you can get going and get a feeling about how this homework work, and 1 and 2, they're related to each other. I will wait for another week to start communicating, give out homework assignment number 3. What I want to do is that the reason I want to give out 3 as early as possible, I want to tell you that in this quarter, probably homework assignment number 3, 5, and maybe 6 are the killer. Or they student will run into a lot of trouble for this 3 because they are more significant. Okay, so 1 and 2 you get a little bit, but then 3 is a main thing. So I'm actually start to thinking based on my past experience, how I can help you to, my job is make sure that I give you a challenging homework, but also I give you a lot of help. So you won't get lost completely. You get the best help, and I will give you some of the most commonly happen struggle, and so help you to get past those as early as possible. Okay. All right. Any question? Otherwise, I'm going to stop this one because this one is.
There's some questions in the chat.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you for letting me know. Let me actually see the chat. Okay. Let me see chat. Wow, that's a lot of chat. Okay, Discord. I will talk about Discord later. Just copy homework code. Yes, you can do that. Just copy the homework 1 code. You can do homework 1 for homework 2, part 1. But for homework 2, part 2, you need to write some other code. Okay, I saw somebody is doing. I will actually talk about homework. What's this one? Python dictionary? What was this? This is related.
You were talking about how you had your parameters separated by a colon. Like
okay. I got it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I was mentioning that. I looked at the JSON sort of format, and it reminded me of how Python dictionaries are, with the key and the value system.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the concept of key value pair has been really, really powerful. It has been everywhere. Essentially, now if you look at all the data representation, all the what we call NoSQL and all this concept, they're basically based on the JSON. And machine learning or IoT, they're all using JSON as a data format to exchange information. Okay.
Professor?
Yes.
This is not related to what the question in the chat were, but I wanted to ask, I have discussion tomorrow. Are we required to attend discussion?
That's a good question, actually. We won't require you to attain the discussion. Let me put it this way. I think discussion is for your benefit to ask questions, to participate. And for this class, because we're doing online, I do not require you to attain. I mean, we try to say, how can we improve the discussion or the class? We do not even require students to attend this class, to be honest with you, because I'm not taking the attendance right now, but I do encourage students to participate as much as possible. And if you feel that the way we run this session is not very valuable for the time you need to spend, let us know, and we will see what's the better way of using this time. So I'm not requiring you to do that. Yeah, I think that's an official answer. I'm not
okay, so just go to discussion if we have questions on homework 1.
Right.
Okay.
And also, you can go to the discussion to just listen to other people's questions as well.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I had one question.
Go ahead, please.
So in the JSON part, there's a part that says code, and in the doc it says the code means the code you received from hw1. So
right.
What's that talking about?
Yeah, if you remember homework 1, you actually receive a JSON back. There is a code that you can put it in. But I just be honest with you, I put it there, but I didn't check. Okay, so you can neglect that part of the requirement. The most important for part 1 is you will be able to obtain a VSID, the virtual student ID. And this 3 pieces of information is important. The code, yeah, it's is ideally I want to do some kind of security experiment, but I didn't really implement that function in the Homework 2 server.
Thank you.
For
Sorry.
okay, so for the avatar name, can we put whatever we want, or do we have to put a name?
Whatever you want. Yeah, that's
Okay.
your choice. I mean, I put Oracle, you can put whatever you want. I mean, it's possible that two students might have the same name. That could be avatar name. That's okay.
Okay.
Slightly unrelated question. Why did you choose Oracle as your nickname?
I forgot. You know what? You know what? I might be watching Matrix at that time, because I think that's a character in one of the movie, and I just pick, and I didn't bother to change. Yeah, but there was no particular reason I said Oracle. But I'm not an Oracle. Just let you know. Okay, it's just an avatar name. Whoever asks that question, you will become an Oracle. Okay, for this class. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, but another plan. I just want to figure out the reason. So if I knew it was like a cringy nickname or not.
No, you can decide whatever name you like to be called. Okay. Yeah, I have all kind of funny name which from last time, but I don't want to. I think it's okay. Any other question for this one? Okay, I'm going to first finish recording this one and then start another session so we can have like a little bit. I think we're almost there. So okay, that's fine. Don't worry. I'm not going to stop recording and re-recording another new session. This will be just one. All right. Any question regarding homework 1 then? Everybody okay with homework 1, especially I'm a little bit worried about my heel and my
Professor.
break. Yeah, go
just
ahead.
one question. Regarding my heel, like I just modified your my break code and it got like the function that you wanted. Did you want us to like start from scratch, I guess, or do we just have to modify my break?
No, it's fine. If you want to use my code to reuse the code, that's called reusability. That's perfectly okay.
Okay, cool.
That's perfectly okay. Yeah.
All right, cool.
I mean,
Thank you so much.
by the way, I will argue to write the code from scratch might not be easier than understand somebody else's logic and then to modify. So readability of the code is an important instructional objective I would like to focus as well. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay,
You're
so
welcome.
Professor,
Yeah.
if we use my break, so your my break, which is writing C, so
yes.
So if we use your code, our my heel should be in C also.
Yeah, you can. By the way, I never tried to do that. Maybe the code can be compiled with C++ as well. Let me try to do that right now, okay?
Because I'm not sure, like, your code, like, just writing the C++.
My impression is that they're usually very compatible, okay? Let me actually check very quickly. Let me check. It's a good question. I always compile with either compiler and it works for me. My break here. Let me try to compile. What was the line? Okay, I know. G++. My break dot C minus O MMM. Oh, malloc. I have to add something to the malloc. Hold on 1 second. There is. Hold on 1 second. I want to. Minus std is equal to 11. Let me check one thing. Hold on. Why? What did I do in my ecs36b homework 9? That was my last one. Did I have to do anything else? Grep, malloc. Yeah, I use malloc. That should be okay. Let me check. I think is, hold on, core.h. Oh, I have to add the include file in order to use malloc. Let me try to grab again. Malloc JSON posts. Let me check JSON posts. No, it cannot be ARPANET post.h. Yeah, that's what I thought. Core.h. I'm going to just copy this part. I'm going to copy this part. I know one of this will be able to help me to deal with that. This is C++, 14. I still have that, so I have to modify Emacs. My break, C. Okay, I'm going to add this extra include file. Okay, I still have this. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This is nothing to do with malloc. Is typing. Sorry, I misread the error message. I'm actually don't need to use this anyway. C++ is checking for the just to let you know what the arrow is. I try to assign a character star from incompatible type voice star. Okay, so because malloc is returning voice star, so I need to do a casting, I think. Let me do a casting. So this part, I think I need to do character star. I need to casting this. And now it works, okay? And this should work, and it's just saying that because it's giving me a warning saying that my file is .c, not C++. So okay, so if you want to use C++ to compile, to run this program, just make sure that you fix this error. You have to casting, say, character star from voice star, because C allow you to do that and the C++ won't. That's an interesting difference. Yeah, I remember.
So this is only a problem if you use C++?
You use G++ to compile. Yes.
Okay. So it shouldn't be a problem if you just use C, right?
Yeah, but I will ask everybody to use G++ to compile, because G++ compile. I mean, the default compiler that we're using is called G++. And I'm using, you can see I'm using version 14, which is developed by 2014. And G++ is a better compiler than GCC, in my opinion, because it checks the type mismatching everywhere. So it reduces your possibility of committing to some error that sometimes is causing a lot of trouble. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah.
For my break and my heal, you wrote it like in the instructions at the very top, the comments, it says that you can compile it using GCC. Are we supposed to like convert it to G++ or?
Let me actually try to do this. when I developed this program, I was actually using GCC. So you do this, but if you but you can also use this. You can do G++. I would say minus std is equal to C 14. Is that right? C++ 14. Sorry. And then you don't need wall, and do like this. This should work as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So will this new code be on the website, or do we have to change it only for like if you're gonna run with C++?
Yeah, I will not require you to use G++ or GCC. We will just make sure that for this homework that you do have your program will be able to break and heal correctly. But I think since we're on this topic, I think it might be just good for you to start using G++ from the beginning. I mean, I know you have been using GCC for ecs36a. You will find that they're almost the same, but G++ is stronger or stricter in terms of picking up your code. But the functionality, the result should be identical.
Okay, thank you.
Professor,
Yes.
for error handling for MyHeal, once we detect a chunk is missing, can we just abort the entire program because there's no point in? Okay. And then also you say that for error handling, the program needs to detect if any chunk is missing, and also the chunk size if incorrect.
Yes, I can. It's not incorrect because we're not doing checksum. It's just the size of the chunks. So we're not handling all kind of error, but just handling two things specifically. Number one, the one of the chunk is missing. The second one is the chunk size is different. For example, you specify the chunk size supposed to be 64 megabytes. But when you heal, you type that each chunk size is 32 megabytes. So the size mismatch, and you should be able to detect that. Sorry, you must detect that. But if the content is being altered, say it's also 64 megabyte, but you have you actually change a few character or data has been corrupted. For this homework assignment, you don't need to worry about that. But certainly, if you really want to extend this homework to do something which will be useful for you, then you need to provide some kind of checksum. You need to actually not only send the chunks, but you need to also produce a checksum for each chunk. So when you try to convert it back, then you will check, make sure the chunk is itself is the integrity hasn't been violated. So let me, since we're on this topic, let me actually just show you a bit of demo about that error detection. So remember, last time I showed you we actually break the stuff into 11 blocks from 0 to 11. Let me actually see, did I? Okay, so they're all 64 megabyte right now. So let's actually remove one. Sorry, let me remove one, my prefix. Let's remove 07. Remove this to EE. Okay, I call it EE. I just temporarily put it there. Wait a minute. What happened? Oh, it's already gone. I actually put 7 somewhere. Okay, I already removed 07. So this 07. That's interesting. Hold on. Yeah, for example, this is already missing. One of the chunk is missing. So I'm going to do my heal. Okay, my heal is taking the source is I will call it 2id.back, and also the prefix is going to be my prefix. And the chunk size, chunk size. How do I actually get the number? Chunk size, 64 megabyte. That's 10. I forgot my calculator. Anybody can tell me what was my chunk size when I actually break it? I forgot. This was like last week.
It was 65,536.
Yes, I remember that. 65536, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. And number of chunk is 11, right? So I run this program. I try to put together. And then it detects that this chunk is missing. Okay, so I'm actually going to show you that I'm going to replace that chunk. How do I replace that chunk? Because I don't check the content, so I can cheat this way. I'm going to put 06 to 07. I will copy it. Wait a minute, why is this giving me this trouble? Okay, put another 0. Okay, so now you see that I actually have 07, but even though the content is incorrect, but its chunk is still 64 megabyte. So I'm actually going to put them together. Okay, so now it works, right? So now I'm going to modify the chunk size 7. Let me actually do this. Let me just remove it. Oh, interesting. Why this has this? So I kill half of this. So you can see that the size of the chunk is significantly smaller, okay, from the 7. So now I'm actually going to heal it again. Yeah, it basically checked the chunk size mismatch with the specify. Okay, so there's basically saying that the size observed for the chunk is this, but then we're expecting 65536 times 1024. So which is that number here? Okay, 67108864. Okay, and so that's the check. I want you to check the file size. Make sure the chunk is at least have the same number of bytes.
Professor?
Yeah.
So in summary, the program should know if, so it should only check for the size and whether a file it's missing, right?
Yes.
Right.
In summary, number 1, all chunks there. Number 2, exactly what you said. The file size is match exactly, except the last chunk. Okay, the last chunk you don't check because the last chunk is always smaller than that number.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Professor. So
yes, go ahead.
Like, how can we create a file to like test my break and my heal?
You can pick any file that you want. You can probably download a like a Linux distribution, or you don't have to find a huge file. You can actually test your program with only like a 64 megabyte. Yeah, you can just download any file you want with maybe, hopefully not too small. It will be at least, I would say, 10 megabyte. And then you can actually break that into, I mean, the smallest you can break is 1K block. You can actually break, for example, if I do my break, this is going to take a long time, but I want to show you what it looks like. If I'm going to break this one into the third parameter. Let me see, prefix is small prefix. I would say small pre. And if I do 1K block, okay, it will generate lots of chunks. If you look at the chunk size, each of them, oh, it's too long, sorry. It's too many. And I would just say 0. You can see that all of them are 1024 byte. All of them are exactly 1K byte. That's the smallest you can get. So which means that any file that you have, you can do testing just on your own. You don't need to submit the file to us, but you can actually test. And then when TA is going to find a way to grade your homework, they will select a reasonable size file to check it out.
Okay, so can you repeat the edge cases that we need to handle out?
Okay, there are really 3 cases. One case is everything is correct, that you will be able to put the chunks back to the original file, and the original file and the result of the MyHeal, they will be identical using the program diff. So that's number 1 check. Make sure they're identical. Let me actually write it down here to. Let me write it down here. One second. Let me write down here. Three check, okay? Check number 1 is going to be diff between diff, which is a tool that in Unix is going to be no difference compared the original file and the healed one. It should be the same. And number 2, if a chunk missing should be detected. And the third one, if chunk size mismatch.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about like what means mismatch, because we should users should input a chunk size.
Right, but what happened if a user forgot and entered incorrectly?
You mean like when they're doing the healing?
Yeah, I mean, because it's a parameter, right? You're going to provide for the healing, right? And I mean, let me just use a very simple example. I have that heal, right? I have this heal program is 65536, right? But what happened if I enter incorrectly is I just enter, I forgot, it's 64 megabytes. I thought it's 1024. If I enter like this, it will immediately throw me an arrow saying that, wait a minute, I'm actually expecting the size you specify, which is 1024K, which is 1 megabyte, but your chunk size is a lot bigger. So it's just a possibility that people are going to make a mistake when they break and heal the program. Sorry, the file.
So this is the correct output when the chunk size doesn't match.
Yes, that's right.
So actually, we need to tell the users what the correct size of the chunk.
What you're expecting and what you're observing, the chunk size. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Professor, the
Yes.
only way that the chunk size could be mismatched is that if the user enters an incorrect chunk size in the command line arguments.
That could be, or one of the chunk is actually corrupted. For example, you're doing a file transfer from one machine to the other, and in the middle of the transfer, that transfer was interrupted. So you didn't finish transfer the whole chunk. So your chunk size will be smaller. So that could be the error as well. In fact, that is more commonly happen in my case. Because let me actually tell you that why this program was useful is I had a I was actually trying to transfer a large file when I was out of town and has a very unreliable internet in a motel. So I don't know when the network will be broken. Initially, I would transfer a huge file, which every time I got some kind of problem, I might have to restart over again. So in other words, I really want to do a slow by slow, a small chunk by small chunk. Even if it's network suddenly disconnect, I will just pick up where I left. But you can see that in that process that some of the chunk is just 30% transmitted, not 100%. And we want to pick up that case, saying that, hey, you're missing this chunk. So in other words, that when you see this error message from my heel, you know which chunk is missing or which chunk the size is mismatched. And then you just need to retransmit that chunks. And then you can actually get the whole file back.
Okay.
So during the office hour, like how can we do a one-to-one appointment that I can actually show my code to you?
Yeah. So we can do two different ways. One of the way we can do that is we make an appointment, one-to-one appointment, not in the office hour like tomorrow. We can actually have another appointment, Zooms in just you and me, then you can share your screen. Or if you feel comfortable, which some of the students are okay with that, in the office hour, they just share the screen. And then everybody in the office hour Zoom, they can see it.
Okay.
I mean, there might be another option, which I will figure out how to do. It might be possible that I can actually send the student into separate breakout room in Zoom, that we can do that. And then inside there, we can share the screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I think for example, if I face some problem in my heel and actually after I use the GDB, I still didn't find the problem. So maybe I want to go to the office hour.
Sure, that sounds good, and we can start tomorrow if you can let us know what kind of error message you are seeing. That if in case you need to share a screen is whether you feel comfortable or not. If you don't feel comfortable, we can arrange another opportunity for you and I to look at your screen, or between you and TA as well. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Professor, I have a question.
Sure.
So once you you break the file and you want to heal it, is it necessary to rename the file you break?
I would suggest you rename the file because you want to compare, right? You want to for the homework assignment, you want to do a diff on the to have the new generated file. If you use the same name, you might overwrite your original one, which means that you cannot compare.
So I can make a copy of the file I broke and
sure, you can do that as well.
And rename it and compare it with the original file.
Right. As long as you preserve the original one.
Yeah.
Then that's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other question? Okay, so we're going to stop here, and let me stop sharing, and let me see, how do I